Yeah, what's her name? The if it
support
doesn't bring you joy, throw it out.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I was like, I'd throw away my whole house. I was driving down the road the other day, and I had this realization, and I was like, why are we allowed to drive cars? Like, really, like, subconscious. I was like, this is because there was like a big truck in front of me, and I was like, that's like a 4.5 ton block of metal that is hurtling down the road at 65 miles an hour.
How big of a truck?
It was just a big truck. I don't know if that's an over-exaggeration.
No, that's an under-exaggeration.
Oh, bigger?
Dude, all right, so like a tractor trailer with like just a normal trailer?
No, like a Ford F-350.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah, all right.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
like 3 ton, 4 ton.
Nonetheless, hurtling down the road at 65 miles an hour, and we're all completely fine. And we're all just like, it was like the three of us were like in a row. Like, it was like we were just going down the thing. And I was all like, this is a lot of inertia. Like, this goes very badly very quickly if one of us doesn't pay attention. It's like, who decided this was okay?
Dude, I mean, even worse than that. I mean, I deal with truckers in the trucking industry. Like, it used to be an honor to haul seafood and like actually like drive like a tractor trailer because it was so dangerous. And, like people's lives were in your hands and your own life was in your hand. And now, like, dude, they throw anybody in a truck. It's like, you drive truck for me? Like, yes, I drive truck for you. Okay, like thank you.
Like I wasn't.
Sir, legitimately, they will send people across the country who don't even speak English. Like, how do you understand the road signs?
Well, but you can drive a truck.
Yeah, but here, let's put you in something that weighs 80,000 pounds. Go down the road at 65 miles an hour. Like,
hopefully 65 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know that didn't.
Well, they govern a lot of trucks out at like 60 something. I mean, unless you're like a real OG outlaw, like you have like your own truck.
Yeah, you got your grandfathered in truck and
speed
stuff.
Limiter.
Yeah. You just they put it in, but you pull the bag out.
PCU swap.
Yeah. Well, I guess the big thing in the trucking industry, I'm just gonna blow the whole industry up right now. They have there's this thing with like electronic logs now.
Yeah.
Where like they're getting hooked in, and like you can only drive for so long, and they like basically force you to pull over, which I think is really dangerous. Because there are times it's just inconvenient to have to shut your truck down or else you get a fine. Like,
oh, wow.
Like they make you within a certain amount of time, and it's a very short window of time, like just shut down.
That's
Even if you've been sitting at your destination, like say you're waiting to pick up and your clock started running and you're just sitting there picking up like as you're resting.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, no. Like you could drive like an hour down the street because you only had an hour left on your clock and then pull over. Even though you've waited like 8 hours at this place getting loaded.
Well,
but anyways, what I was trying to say is there's this old school thing. Anything 1999 and earlier, you don't have to have electronic logs or any of the old, like the new regulation stuff.
Fair enough,
So all these guys are buying brand new Peterbilts, brand new trucks, ripping out the engines and putting 1999 engines in it because it only goes on the end, like on the motor.
Yeah.
So like whatever the year plate on the VIN of the motor is what year your truck is.
Oh, so get into rehabbing old engines for.
Well, I mean that's a big thing though.
Yeah.
It like when you work on trucks that big, I mean they get millions of miles on them.
Yeah.
And it's like
they got a lot of maintenance.
An engine swap's normal.
Yeah.
Like it's like like swap this engine. It has 4 million miles on it. Like whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Those things are built to go, obviously.
And they're pretty simple. It's not like swapping like an engine out of a little Kia where it's designed to like be the most inconvenient package possible just to fit.
It works on theory a lot.
Like, I mean, think about these are massive bricks just like moving through the air. You can take the whole front end off. Just like you can do an engine swap in like a weekend.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. So, if you know what you're doing, yeah, absolutely.
It's because it's easy. You can as long as you have big enough equipment to pull stuff out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, sorry, that was a rant.
So, no, to build off of what Tyler was saying, big name insurance company in the area is now offering these little plug-in things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. Those are so like no
like
a snitch.
Yeah. Aimed at quote reducing your cost of insurance because of your better driving habits.
Yeah.
But it's really just like, oh, you speed like all the time, your insurance goes up. It's like, congratulations.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, please don't tell me what my insurance is going to do because I wanted to do a burnout. Like,
I'm not
in my free time.
I don't think it goes reverse. I don't think it goes up. I don't think they punish you for anything.
But they get more
They
information.
They get you more. They get more information.
They're
which
gonna
is-
get you in the long run.
But and I don't know how they're gonna do it.
They're
But
gonna
they
get you.
Listen,
I
I'm,
don't know
pretty
where.
sure, I'm pretty sure they'll like vicariously like write you tickets. They do that with the truckers already with the e-logs. If you're over a certain speed for X amount of time, they will physically send you a ticket in the mail.
Nice. Wrecked.
I would be so.
I'd be-
Or you get tickets if you violate that time. Like you have to shut your truck down for this thing, and you just have to keep going because of whatever.
Mhm.
Nope.
In the middle of the
Ticketed.
highway in Nevada.
Yep, pretty much. It's like ticketed.
I tell you what though, if Apple were to make something to put in your car that tracks your speed, I bet you everybody would do it.
Yeah.
Just because it's Apple.
That's why
Because-
Apple's not getting it.
Because we give Apple our fingerprints, our face recognition, everything we got, and it's
Yeah.
fine. We trust Apple. But as soon as Progressive is like, let us plug this in so you get cheaper insurance, everyone's like, nope, you're gonna ticket me.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Listen, boys, we like to live life
Well,
a little dangerous around
Look,
these parts.
even Tesla gives you the opportunity to speed with autopilot on. Like it'll
Oh,
like
wow, I
you
didn't
have
know
auto. Yeah, you can go a little bit over the speed limit
Well,
on
listen,
autopilot.
our boy Elon knows what's going on.
Yeah, he knows
what
what's
the deal is.
up.
Sometimes you gotta get there a little faster. You know?
Exactly. Regardless of if you're driving or the car's driving.
That'll be an interesting ticket to get.
Yeah.
You're not really driving. You're laying down in the back seat. Your car's driving itself. A cop pulls you
Get a
over for
speeding
speeding.
ticket.
You have to write it to the car.
Bill Tesla, invoice Tesla, $35 speeding ticket.
$35 speeding ticket. What were you doing? 2 miles over the speed limit?
Yeah, that's-
absolutely.
yeah,
I
that's-
haven't gotten a speeding ticket. I've never, like, personally, no, I don't think I've ever gotten a speeding ticket.
Don't ask me.
It goes
about,
by the mile.
Yeah,
Oh, does it?
don't ask me about my speeding ticket in New York. I got.
Oh,
a few
yeah,
years ago.
you got wrecked by
Dude,
that.
New York wrecked me hard.
Oh, yeah. Well, how
The
That was-
price goes up when you're from out of town.
Oh,
I've,
yeah, no,
I've
absolutely
only
it
gotten
does.
2 speeding tickets. One was on Route 88 going towards Horseneck Beach.
Mm.
I was going home, dude, which was crazy. My neighbor was in front of me. My mother was in front of my neighbor. All three of us were driving down the same road, doing the same speed.
cooking it.
We were probably cooking it a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't deny it. But
I was
they
getting a bit toasty.
hey, a cop goes on the other side of the road. He's going the opposite way. Flips around and comes and gets me.
He had his spit out. He had his thing going.
Yeah, I was doing like 75
Yeah. Oof.
In a 30?
in a 30. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not going to tell you what the speed limit of that road was.
that's the point. But
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I took it on the chin for that one. But in New York, New York, they don't play.
Yeah.
That's one thing I did learn.
There's a heads up. We're going to New York tomorrow, so keep
Listen,
the
I'm
speed
gonna
on.
tell you.
slow.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you right now. I cruise control 70, no
Oh,
more
yeah.
than 70
Yeah.
anywhere.
My car doesn't have cruise control.
Foot control
there you go.
70.
It's your toe, big toe.
No, I understand. Side note, like really random. I never noticed how much I used cruise control until I got a car that didn't have cruise control, and I was like, "Oh, really? That's interesting."
Well, dude. I love cruise
I
control.
rarely ever use it unless I'm going like a long hike. But most of the time, I just ride the control.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of cars, let's talk about horses, Eric.
Not my ponies.
Isn't that your topic?
Horses.
Getting
Getting
back
back
on
on
the
the
horse.
horse.
I'm not
Come
the one.
on,
I'm not the
Eric,
one who wrote it
passed- I
down.
lateraled you
I
there.
didn't write it down.
I wrote it down.
Yeah,
to be
thank
fair.
you.
No, I was like, what?
I lateraled
did
it
you
to
write-
you.
yeah.
I sports termed it right over to you.
Because it wasn't like a pass. It was like I was like,
Yeah, it was like an alley, and I was just like, "Are we in the same team?" Like,
Hey, the adeptness of the sports fanaticism.
Oh,
yeah, it's right
I know,
there.
right?
Boom. Anyways,
I gave you a tennis pass, guy.
passed it to you. Yes.
Oh man! All right, so this is more of a we kind of were like almost rolling into this in the last episode when we ended. So we figured we'd start this episode kind of on this topic where it's like getting back on the horse after you fall, and there's the horse coming in again. But it's the idea of like when you go after your dreams and you fall off, it hurts. But the key is to get back up and get back on your horse. That is the goal. That is the hard part. That is the challenge. That is what we all strive to do, but sometimes fail to do. Unfortunately, fail to do. And today we're gonna just talk about like experiences and things like that. But before we get into that, welcome to the Life Podcast. My name is Eric, and I'm here with Tyler. Benji.
Hello. Wow.
Who let the ponies in here?
Sound bite.
Yeah, that's gonna
for
yeah.
the board.
I don't know.
version.
Yeah, yes, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Once we get the board.
Who let those horses in here? Close the barn door.
It's gonna
That's so
take
New England. Barn door.
the
barn.
door. The Dartmouth.
Damn it.
New York.
Are we gonna talk about the
No.
experience we had yesterday?
Oh, with the squirrel?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
well, it's like zoo time fairy.
Boys,
Yeah,
fairy
might as well.
tales.
We're talking about
A
animals.
couple different things happened. So I I saw this person in Walmart. We're all out going and buying stuff for a client shoot. And I see this woman with this squirrel. And I did mentally process multiple times if I was seeing this correctly. And she's like walking behind us and I turn around and I'm like, okay, that's a squirrel. And then
On a leash.
we were on a leash, yeah. And we were all like in this aisle. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. And I was like, excuse me. And Eric's all like, that's when I knew it was good because Benji never talks to anyone. And I was like, hey, like, it's totally fine if you say no, but can I take a picture of the squirrel? And then both of, like, Eric was there and Tyler's girlfriend, Becky, was there. And they were like, what? Squirrel? And it was great. It
Yeah.
was an awesome
First of all, I didn't even notice this lady was in the aisle with the squirrel. I saw the lady, but like I just like everyone else, I was just mentally processed. That's a person. Go back to what I'm doing. Little that I thought she was holding like a ferret or something. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't look any more beyond that. But it was definitely a squirrel. Nice. I never pet a squirrel before. Squirrels
yeah, we got
are
to pet the
exactly
squirrel.
what you think they are. Very soft.
They are soft, yeah.
Oh yeah. No. It's okay. It's gonna sound weird. I've always wanted to pet a squirrel. Not gonna lie. Just because like you see them and it's like they look like they're really soft, but I'm not gonna catch one.
Yeah.
She caught one.
She says, and she's all like, I was like, oh, do you breed them? And she's like, no, I talk to animals. And I was like, okay.
Oh, rep.
And I just
Yeah, we just glossed over that. Like
just
that didn't
glossed
happen.
right on over that one. And it was interesting.
We're not opening up that can of worms.
She said she had
Yeah,
a pet
no.
deer.
Oh yeah. She
Listen,
had a pet deer, she
you
had a
never know
fox.
what happens
I
at
had both.
Walmart.
Well, I didn't tell you guys. I had a pet raccoon.
That's excessive.
I did
Why?
because I could.
When? This is really the
Trash
question.
pandas.
Like it's one
Trash panda, yeah.
trash panda. Yeah.
I got rid of him for his benefit. I had it since it was a little baby. My neighbors, they had raccoons in their like pool shed,
Okay.
and so they like I was friendly with them at the time, so I helped them get the raccoons out. We took the babies out and we put them in like a pet carrier and we left them in the woods. And the mother ran away, but like I guess the thing is the mother comes back and gets them. Like she'll find somewhere to go,
Yeah.
and then come back one by one and take the babies to the nest.
That makes sense.
And so we left them out in a pet carrier inside of my yard, and the mom came back. I purposed in my heart, was like, if the mother doesn't come back for all of them tonight, because usually they will,
Yeah.
then whatever's left over in the morning, I'll just take care of it.
Fair.
So the mom came back and left all but one.
Sounds like the start of a movie.
Yeah, yeah. So I took him in. I had to feed him. I had to like bottle feed it like cat formula for a while.
I was looking through the window.
Yeah.
His hand on the
My baby.
with cat formula.
Yeah, I had to like bottle feed it cat formula. Yeah.
That's a lot of effort. Well, fair enough. Good for you.
It was fun. And he was starting to get bigger. His eyes were still closed. I mean, that's how young it was.
Oh wow.
That's why I couldn't just like leave it there.
Yeah.
And then its eyes opened and he was cool for a while. He didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't like, I had to get rid of him because the thing was like destructive.
Then he killed my cat.
Well, my logic was, I was still living with my parents at the time. I was just gonna raise it to be healthy enough to let it go into the woods and just like once it was big enough to fend for itself. But as I did more research and started calling people and talking to people about it, I guess raccoons the first like year or two, when they leave their nest as babies, they stay together with their brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And they won't survive the winter without the warmth raccoons. Yeah.
Yeah, for body
Oh,
For
okay,
body
yep,
heat.
Yep.
So I was like, I can't get rid of them. So I had to talk to my vet. Like I bootlegged it to the vet, which is crazy. Asked
wonder
my
nobody
vet
calls
undercover
the
because
vet
it's illegal to have a raccoon like that.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's probably illegal to have
Why?
a squirrel like that too.
Wait,
but
why
anyways.
is it illegal to have a raccoon?
It's a wild animal.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
but so what? Like, it's not gonna like.
Yeah, but they're like
not
rabies
domesticated,
carriers,
yeah.
and it's,
Oh,
yeah.
fair
Oh,
enough.
dude, it was definitely legal.
Listen, if you can catch whatever you catch, if you have
You have the
if you
choice
can
to
catch
eat
it,
it
you have
or
the
you-
right to keep it. Like if you could catch a giraffe, you have the right to keep it. It is what it is.
You're gonna ride them. but anyways, I had to go through this weird like black market. Like I had to really talk like in code and everything so that nobody really freaked out or found out. But I had to go through like this network of people to find a lady who had a small batch of raccoons that she was like raising to not breed but like reintroduce to the wild.
Yeah.
And I had to like meet up with her and like do this weird like
Lady
sketchy like
zoo.
raccoon drug deal. Like
Are you a
in fall-
cop? Are you a cop? I'm
Pretty
not a
mu-
cop.
pretty
If you-
much.
If you're a cop, you have to tell. It's like,
Pretty much. Can I have 2 drugs, please? But I had to meet up with this lady and give it, and I guess she like took it and reintroduced it with like them so that they all like went off together.
Yeah.
wow. How long ago was this?
Last week.
That was a couple years ago, maybe like 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
I got videos. I'll show you.
Oh, do you? Yeah, I'd actually
I'd
really
love to
like
see
to see
that.
it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick ad break and we'll be back. We would like to thank Anchor for sponsoring and hosting the Life podcast. So who are Anchor and what do they do? Anchor is the all-in-one platform that gives you everything you need to make and publish your podcast. And best of all, it's all free. Anchor allows you to use their creative tools to record and edit your podcast. No need for any fancy professional equipment. Sounds amazing, right? And we haven't even gotten to the best part. Anchor isn't just a recording and editing platform. They're a publisher too. This means that Anchor takes care of all of the hard stuff, like publishing to Apple and Google Podcasts, so you don't have to. So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Another thanks to Anchor for hosting, publishing, and sponsoring the Life podcast.
Listen, we got plenty of time.
Oh,
boys.
do we? Okay,
Okay,
that's
good.
fine.
I don't have to be at my parents' house till 9.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, because I was gonna say we got way behind schedule this morning, but it's fine.
Makes it. Well, we're doing this 2 days in a row. Oh, side note, we're doing this 2 days in a row because Eric and I are going up to New York for NAB. And,
So if you're gonna be out there, and you won't hear this show until the week later. But,
Yeah.
oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go.
they're not gonna go. Okay,
No,
that's
it's
fine.
not gonna.
That's fine.
It's not, I don't think it's gonna fare well.
These things happen. Nonetheless, Eric and I are going to NAB, which is the National Association of Broadcasters, I think, and
Yes.
the
AES,
the
Audio Engineering Society convention.
the whole crew. So we got the audio, we got the video. The big boys are gonna be there. We're gonna say hi,
A lot of cool toys,
show face, plays with some nice audio and video equipment,
and try not to spend all my money.
exactly.
Don't
Yeah.
spend it.
Don't spend it. We might get some nice
It'll be all
deals.
fun
though.
and games
gonna be
until it's
some-
in front of you.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until like road
Maybe I'm
comes
gonna
up.
have to go.
Yeah, just to kind of keep a leash. I'm gonna give you my cards.
All right, boys. We'll take it till the very last minute. I gotta go. I gotta assist my work situation first.
That's fine.
Yeah, let
Take
us
it.
know.
I think Sennheiser's gonna be there, right?
Sennheiser. will be
Sennheiser's got a big booth. Black Magic's got a massive booth. They got like a corner of the place.
there.
It's
Yeah,
legit.
Yeah, they got some cool.
Sennheiser and San Pellegrino. Still, that's goals.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Send some emails.
Honestly, all you gotta do is write them a letter,
Yeah.
and
but
and then they'll at least look at it.
maybe one day when we don't have a client like contract. Well, at this point we don't really have a ton of time. We're gonna have to find time to let's do a San Pellegrino shoot and just send it to them.
Just be like, hey.
and then said, yeah, I'm telling you, and doing just a regular cover, literally just asking them for them to sponsor is usually enough for them to at least say yes.
Yeah.
You know, if you just ask, it's like, okay, we can do that, and then they'll look at what we obviously. If the more people that follow us,
Yeah.
it'll be easier to convince them.
Okay. So topic time.
Yes, absolutely.
Getting back on the horse.
Yes. So we're gonna get back on the horse of the topic.
Ooh.
I didn't know Tyler was so good at those impersonations. All right, so we talked about a lot of stuff this morning, but I'm trying to
waiting
get
for you.
this
Come
on
on.
too.
Come on, Eric. Come on.
Come on.
You can do it.
Come on. All right.
Well,
Giddy up.
well, yesterday we talked about like
Excellence.
failing. Oh, and
we
excellence.
we talked about excellence, and then we kind of went into like what was the quote from yesterday? It was like dreams.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Sweet dreams are made of this.
Excellence is the result of caring more than others think is wise, risking more than others think is safe, dreaming more than others think is practical, and expecting more than others think is possible.
That's right. And then we started talking about, be careful with who you share your dreams with.
Yeah.
and then from there, we kind of started just talking about, like, it's okay to fail. And your dreams don't always necessarily, it's not usually the first burst you take at it. It's one of those things where you take your first jump and then you learn all the mistakes. You learn everything that wasn't exactly realistic about the dream. That's why it's just like, it's still a dream. You have to understand that. And then, like, in your mind, it's like this perfect fantasy, but it takes a while to build that foundation for the fantasy.
Or the dreams don't always manifest the way that we think they would be too.
Absolutely.
I want to be, I feel like my dream is I'm supposed to be this national broadcaster, somebody, so-and-so, or like this radio personality. But really, actually, that wasn't satisfying, but it was close.
Yeah, it was close.
And it was like, oh no, I wanted to be the engineer behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Or I wanted to be this person or that person. It's like the dream was accomplished, but it manifested in a different way than what you originally expected.
There are thousands of stories about that of people who've made it, and like their number one advice is like just go with the flow and take the opportunities that come your way and never say no to the opportunity.
Well, there's a proverb that we read. It says, "Your talents and gifts will make room for you and bring you before great men." It's like your gift and your talent, your calling, and what you're supposed to do. That little niche, whatever you might think it is, might not be what it is, but your gift will bring you to the right spot in the right place.
Absolutely. I think that something that a lot of like younger people do, especially like in your late teens, early 20s, you latch on to the dream. You latch on to the original vision, and you latching on so hard actually closes doors of opportunity for you that were supposed to happen, because you're so stuck in that vision of like, I'm supposed to be a rapper.
that was exactly what I was just thinking.
But in reality, you were just that you're supposed to be in the music industry, but like that was just your foot in the door.
You hear that, Ben Dollars? Take this to heart. Early 20s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rap game strong.
This is where my rap career takes off.
Yeah.
No, but like it is. It's important to remember, like the people who have been the most successful are not people who found the niche early. It's they found it once they had settled. So being a jack of all trades is not a bad thing. Like my parents and I have this conversation all the time where it's all like, why did you decide to do this thing and then this thing and then that thing? It's like whatever made money at that moment is what we were doing. And it's like, I'm not saying I'm never going to go back to doing something else.
That's good.
But it's that this industry is making more money than that industry, and it's like not hopping back and forth, but capitalizing on opportunity.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of people don't do. Is they see like it's kind of like driving in a lane. Like if you're on the highway and you're driving, and if you keep switching back and forth between lanes and you don't make any progress, then there's no point in switching back and forth between lanes. But if you see one lane is moving much faster than the other one, and one's like dead stopped, it makes sense to switch over into the other lane.
Talking about that, I have some stories to tell you guys, but only for our Patreon subscribers. So quick little plug, if you go down into the description of this video, sign up for Patreon and you'll get this full story after the break.
Also
Rubber ducks
available.
and coffee cups. Rubber ducks, coffee cups. Right?
That's $1 a month. You'll get all the behind the scenes footage of the Life podcast
Just
and more.
$1.
That's cheaper than a Dunkin' Donuts coffee guy.
Way cheaper.
Absolutely.
Have you bought a Dunkin' Donuts?
Have I bought?
I mean, you're paying $3 for a cup of swill.
It's getting serious. It's getting serious.
Anyway, so you guys were talking.
Yeah.
Just capitalize on opportunity, and that's something in everyday life. That's not just business. We talk a lot about business on this show because we're engrossed in it, and you talk about the things that you're engrossed in, But like capitalizing on investment, where you're like, okay, let's use an example that's really close to us, where it's like, okay, I'm a photographer, I only do weddings, and then somebody says, hey, you want to do this art gallery shoot, and you're like, no, I only do weddings, and you wonder why you only get 2 weddings a year.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's like
an actual I spoke to, he's an audio engineer. An audio engineer named Jermaine.
Wow.
And not the Jermaine. He is just an audio engineer.
Jackson?
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but as soon as I do, I'll let you know. But he is the live audio engineer for Mariah Carey.
Oh wow.
Successful, right?
Yeah.
His story was interesting. He always envisioned himself as being a studio engineer. Period. That was his vision when he was a kid. He always wanted to be a studio engineer.
This is a perfect example.
And then he got the opportunity of somebody offering him a job to do a live engineering job, not for Mariah Carey, just a regular live engineering job. And he was like, I'm not going to say no. It's an opportunity. He took the opportunity. Well, that opportunity ended up happening. He ended up loving live engineering more than he did studio engineering. So much more that Mariah Carey eventually hired him as her personal on tour live engineer. So like super successful. Like you can't complain with that life. Like he's like, I thank Mariah Carey for paying all my bills.
Yeah.
Like I would too. But it's like he never, that wasn't the dream that he initially had. But that initial dream gave him enough motivation to go live it. And then eventually the dream found him. I always say this, like eventually you get to a point when you're chasing your dreams that your dream ends up chasing you. And that's literally the definition of it. You try so hard trying to get to your dream that eventually, all of a sudden, the opportunities start opening up behind you. And now it's just chasing you now. Now all you have to do is just show up and things just keep happening. Yep. And before you know it, you're on the grand stage of where you belong. You know, but you can't keep chasing it. You have to, it's kind of like counterintuitive, but you in a way have to release control.
Yeah. But you got to stay on the saddle. It's like riding a horse. I mean, you can control the horse only so much, but the horse is in control.
Yeah.
And as long as you stay on the saddle, the horse will bring you to your destination.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
I talked to somebody a while back, which is an interesting, interesting occurrence, talking to somebody. But outside of our little group of individuals, and they were like, "Oh, I'm doing this thing, and all of this stuff is going wrong, and I run after the problem, and then nothing happens." And it's like, and I used the example that I heard a long time ago, where it's all like, it's easier to hold water if you don't clench your fists. And it's like, if you cup your hands and you put your hands in the water stays. But as soon as you try to grab the water itself, it just rushes out from all the different sides.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where a lot of people are in their lives with the things that they do, is they try to grab onto everything so quickly that it just causes everything to rush out the sides.
Just like sand, too. You can't hold on to sand like that. I was talking to somebody the other day, giving them relationship advice, and I told them, listen, number one rule to live by. It's not very spiritual, but catch this. Love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably crap.
Yes.
God, that is.
But it's true. Like you're trying to have a relationship with somebody. If you have to force it, it's probably crap.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the same thing with same thing with our lives, or our dreams, or our opportunities. Yeah, you have to have your hands open and ready. You have to nurture and create that environment. If you're going to be a musician, if you're going to be whatever you're trying to be, if you want to be a NASCAR driver or like a stock car driver, start driving some go-karts, start driving.
Yeah.
The same with a musician. You're like, I want to be a musician, but I don't play anything. Go practice. Go play something. Go get a specialty instrument.
Well, people don't like to start from the bottom. Like we talked about that on this show, where it's all like, yeah, you want to drive F1, you got to start at go-karts. And it's like, they look so different, but you have to learn the core concept.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm really trying to find his name. I just want to give him his credit.
No problem. I thought Tyler was going to continue with his thought. Sorry, I was just interjecting.
I'm still thinking about that concept we were talking about as I was walking by the coffee pot, but I don't want to bring it onto the podcast yet because it's not fully developed, and I don't know if I'm going to write a book about it.
Fair enough. So it's everything in life is not about forcing. It's like there was like this little like turn of phrase that was big a while back. It was like, oh, you forced it. Like it's like
forced it.
Yeah, you know, as you forced it. That was big for a little while. But like it is a funny little thing where these turns of phrase actually mean a lot more than they boil down to. And it's like, how many times have you seen in your life, because we're better at observing than we are at looking at our own selves introspectively. So like, how many times have you looked around your friend group and said, oh man, that guy was almost right there, and he forced it.
Yeah, I mean we take it so knowingly, but yeah, you forced it.
Yeah,
and it's true. I mean, I can take it in my own context. I'm a skilled and accomplished musician, but you can't put me on the spot because I'm not a music box. If you force me to play, or if you're like go and like do this, and I wasn't feeling it, or if I'm not into it, you can't force it because then it's gonna be real crap.
Absolutely, and it's like, how many times have you like you're working on something, like let's use Eric's sink as an example, because Eric works on a lot of sinks lately.
Apparently, yeah.
It's like,
that's how you get that clog through, boy. Force it.
If Eric's working on the sink and he's like, oh, like it just needs to apply a little bit more pressure to get it to undo, and then Eric just says, you know what, and he just bangs on the wrench, and you crack the pipe.
But it was the last step of the process,
absolutely.
You know, and it's like, okay, now you got to do the whole thing over again.
Absolutely.
Or if you just try to tighten it and you just force it a little too tight, you'll strip the threads and it'll leak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's we have to be so like aware of everything that we do, so that it's so easy to not to take it that extra step. Like you have an opportunity that just looks so good, you know, that opportunity of like, this is going to be the one that makes it for me. But like every time you go to do it, it feels like you're forcing it. Everything comes against you. There's a lot of friction. There's a difference between friction and obstacle courses.
Yes.
And that's something that we have to be very aware of, because if it's just a little bit of friction or if it's an obstacle course, that's the difference of breaking the sink all over again or actually just fixing the problem. Because it's probably, if you're having an issue getting it off, it's probably because something is wrong, you know, because it's supposed to go on with ease.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be just a little uncomfortable getting to work, but it shouldn't be working against you.
Yeah, if you're having a problem like screwing the pipes together, there's probably something in the threads, and you
probably started the thread wrong.
Yeah,
and now you're forcing it,
and you're gonna cook it.
and that's one of those things where and this is the things that you learn from experience. Because your first time going through it, you might be like, oh, this is a normal thing for it to be. Yeah. It must always do this on every sink because you don't know, so you just keep going. But
This is fine with like the house on fire.
yeah, everything's okay. The sink's gonna work, but it's one of those things where the experience of it. Now you know, like, this isn't supposed to be this difficult. Let me back this off and try again.
I mean, you can screw it in like that too, and it might work, but then that becomes a problem for future.
Yeah, that's a future problem, exactly. But it's the same thing when you're following your dreams, especially when you first jump out and all the inexperience. Everything looks so shiny and bright and cool to touch, and you don't know what's going right or what's going wrong. That's why it's so important to have mentors who've been there before, so that they can give you guidance of like, I've been there, I've seen that. Be careful.
And if you're chasing your dreams we're using this pipe example. If you're threading the pipe and you're forcing your dreams to come to pass, it still might work and it will come to pass. But all the threads, all the people, all the connections that you had to step on to get there, was it worth it?
Yeah,
because if your dream ends, say that sink, you have to take that sink apart again to fix that sink. It's like then that becomes a problem for future you because of all the people that you stepped on. Now you don't have any friends at the top.
Yeah,
this is a heck of an analogy. This is really. I mean, I hope everyone's keeping up with it, but this is really good.
Yeah, this is really good. And I mean, I guess we only have 10 seconds, so we're gonna have to come back into this one.
Our boy Chris Valentin says what you said all the time, where it's all like, if you're lonely at the top, you should have made friends at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
That's it. And it's the same. It's the same with our with getting our dreams done.
And before we go into the break, Tremaine Williams was the name I was looking for.
Jermaine.
Yeah, Tremaine. I was close. Come on, guys. Anyways, we'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Rock, you gotta just go, and that's the dangerous part. And we were talking, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, subscribe on Patreon. We had a great conversation
now.
Coffee cups and
rubber
ducks and coffee cups on Patreon. It's in the description of the podcast or the video, depending on where you're watching this. Be adaptive. The dream can change, the goal can change, and that's what scares people.
Well, you have to think of it this way. If the world is changing, right? Every day the world is changing economically, in every way, an aspect of, it just adapts. The world adapts and new things become new trends. Your dream needs to adapt to that. You know, if your dream is to be a 1990 hip hop rap, I keep bringing up rapper because it's just what I am. But I'm not a rapper, but a 1990 hip hop rapper, but it's 2019. You have to adapt and you have to find a new niche. You can't keep. You have to change as the thing. And if the world, I guess the point is, the world changes, your dreams change too.
Sometimes your dream just goes a little bit different.
Yeah, I say change, but like adapts.
Well,
like,
if you have a good product, I don't want to negate what you're saying because I definitely understand. When you have a good product or when you have a good skill, like obviously you adapt and evolve, but you don't. Usually, the person who has the most success goes against the grain.
Yes, absolutely. But I guess I'm looking at it as like, if I'm really good at developing software in 2005.
Yeah, that's a better.
You know what I mean? And you have to improve. You have to the product adapts to meet the needs.
32-bit, 64-bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because you get cut off, and people get better, and it's like. It's just the dream has to change, and you have to adapt. And there's nothing wrong with achieving the goal that you want to achieve. It's just make sure that you're achieving it for yourself.
I mean, you're going full steam at this one dream. The minute you start to get close, you can look at it and say, "Well, you know what? This actually wasn't the dream, but the dream looked like a little left of center. I need to readjust and go that way."
Like that happened a lot to me in a personal way, where like my career, it didn't change. My career didn't change. I didn't leave the industry, but the specifics of the actual dream, it adjusted.
Yeah.
You know, where I thought I fit in one place, and then I dove into that place and I started to feel things out, and I'm like, this feels good, but it's not perfect, and then you try something else, and then it kind of just clicks a little bit deeper in, and now you're like a little bit more rooted, and you feel like, oh, this feels like a little bit more at home, but it's not like there yet. So like I went from when I first came into the music scene where I was writing music, and then I kind of fell into like recording it, and then I fell into like, I'll just work on other people's music, and then I fell into like, oh, I really like the mixing aspect of it, and then you fall into this groove of like, this is where I belong.
Then you grab the stethoscope, boys.
yeah, exactly. But it's
true.
But that's the thing, is like you have to be willing to go with the flow. Like we were saying, I don't know if we said that on mic or off mic, but water finds the fastest route.
That was off mic.
That was off mic. So if water gets from point A to point B in the least resistance possible and the fastest way possible, you have to be that way. You have to go with the flow of life. Shout out to the Life podcast.
Yeah, self-referential. But it is important to realize, that's all very, very true. The topic that I want to bring in really quickly is the idea of, Tyler was talking about the idea of sentiment, and also people will waste their lives following a dream that they had when they were 13 or 12 because they told everybody that was their dream. And they said, I can't change my dream because everybody knows that this is what I'm supposed to do. Billy's supposed to be a doctor. He said he wanted to be a doctor. So now he's going to suffer through 8 years of medical school, go through 2 years of residency, and become a doctor and a specialist that he hates because everybody expects Billy to be a doctor.
I wanted to be a Navy SEAL like my entire life since I was like probably like in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see right here, I'm not a soldier. I'm not a soldier by any means. But the dream changed. I actually went to military school in my school vacation just to be able to go immerse myself. And I would have went full steam ahead into that career path.
Yeah.
But I mean, your dreams change, and I don't feel unfulfilled. But like, I was telling people, like, yeah, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL my whole life.
Yeah.
But people get stuck in that. People get stuck in like, I'm gonna be a doctor, and it's like, I told everybody I want to be a doctor. I really don't want to be a doctor anymore, but now I have to because everybody thinks I'm going to.
Yeah, and it depends on what the switch is too. If it's a lateral move, no big deal. But if it's like that doctor example, like he finds out later in life that he wanted to really be, a painter. Exactly, it's beautiful. And now it's like such a left turn, and in society's eyes, like you were gonna make all this money and you decided to risk all that to go paint, and it's like you're really afraid of the judgment that you're gonna get.
Or really, I mean, you can break it down to business too. Say you thought the dream was being successful and making a bunch of money and having like a Fortune 500 company and build this big business mogul. But as you're going that way, it's like, oh, the dream isn't to have a bunch of money, because with the money comes the headaches. More money, more problem.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, actually the dream was just to have my have my needs met. And it's like, oh, I get a course adjust, and it's like, people, oh, what happened? Why aren't you so successful? Why did you sell your McLaren? Why did you sell your Lotus? Why did you sell all these like cars? Why did you sell your house in Malibu? It's like, because I didn't have, like, the work that it took for me to maintain that.
Yeah.
wasn't worth my happiness. That wasn't the dream.
Because I had 3 people on payroll just to clean the cars, Jennifer. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people. There are literally people who are so afraid of other people's judgments on their lives.
But now I gotta continue this destructive business life just to be able to maintain the appearance. When it's like, no, I'd rather be happy driving my 1995 Acura and having a decent house and like, or even the Miata for the weekend. It's like, oh,
even the example of having a house that's like just barely affordable, but it's a really nice house and everyone's seen your house, and you don't want to move out of the house to a smaller house that you can actually afford because you don't want people to think you're a failure.
Yeah, because what are people going to think of me if I go from a 5,000 square foot house to a 3,000 square foot house?
And, and that's like, and luckily downsizing is like a new trend.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, my picture of success is the van down by the river. Like, I don't.
It's funny. I now that I said it out loud, I think that downsizing is a trend because no one can afford the big houses.
Well, yeah, it's because one guy was like, no, I'm downsizing, and everyone was like, we're gonna use that excuse.
Everyone, yeah, right. Minimalist. That's awesome. I don't have to buy as much stuff.
Five pairs of clothes. Like, oh.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, what's her name? If it doesn't bring you joy, throw it out.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I'd throw away my whole house.
Oh man, but it's just one of those things where a lot of people and I say a lot of people, and it's all of us in some way, shape, or form, but we're afraid of some sort of judgment being casted. So we hold on to certain things because we don't want, it's like a facade that we're kind of keeping up for someone else's benefit and not our own. And when we do stuff like that, you're hindering the dream. Whether you realize it or not, that's getting in the way of getting from point A to point B, flow like water. You're putting obstacle courses in the way of your water, and these are the things that slow us down. These are the things that, why is it so hard to follow my dream? Well, because all of the pieces that you laid out on your Lego board has now created a weird funnel, and the water can only go this one way, and it's a really uncomfortable and really long way, but you laid it out, and you're not willing to break apart any pieces because you're so ingrained with what you've already built, you know what I mean? And you're afraid of, like, you have the sentiment where you don't want to break stuff down, or even just other people's feelings that you don't want to hurt. You have to come to a point, and I'm not saying hurt people's feelings. All I'm saying
sometimes people's feelings get hurt.
And sometimes people's feelings get hurt. Sometimes you can't help it. People's feelings are just gonna get hurt.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why did you throw this rotten baby blanket out or something? It's like, because it was rotten. It was legitimately growing mold, and it could not be salvaged. My feelings. It's like, no.
But it was my blanket.
Yeah, it's like, yo, but it was toxic. Or like I had to pull for me. Like, I'm sorry, that thing was giving me allergies.
And some people are going to understand that, and other people will not. And that's really, you have to let the ball fall on their court and just let them play whatever play they're going to do next. But you just can't keep on holding on to all this stuff because it's stopping you. It's no, I don't want to say stopping you, but it's
slowing you down.
It's slowing you down. These are the weights in our life. They say, oh, you got to let go of the weights of life so you can fly higher. These are the weights, people. Like, it's the weights that you do to yourself. It's like, it's not this fantasy thing where, like, you're literally holding on to ropes. No, like, these are the people and the situations that you've created in your life that stop you from getting to higher places. And you have to be able to let go of these things. And sometimes it's hard to let go. I understand that. But the sooner you do, the faster you can get to the top. And if you never do, you'll never get to the top.
Absolutely. And side note, this is not easy by any means of the word.
No.
What we're
Just
saying
talking
is
about
very
it's
difficult.
giving me agnias.
Yeah, exactly. Eric's like, I got people that I gotta cut off.
Yeah.
But it's like, people say all the time, well, then why did that person achieve their dreams, or why does this person do this thing? It's not just achieving the dream. Because I can physically right now go buy a van and go live down by the river. Now, maintaining that is a much more difficult process. It's like, I can quit my job and go sit in my house and do nothing all day, and that's technically retirement. But how long am I possibly going to do that before I run out of food and I run out of money?
Yep.
Like, it's like, there's a maintenance to all of this, and it's never going to be easy. And I think that this microwave Instagram culture that we have nowadays is like, I want to have this thing right now, and I want it to work today. And I don't want to work for it ever again. I want to pay for it once and just let it ride. And it's like, well, one, most people aren't willing to pay for it the first time. And then
once you see the price, you'll run away.
Exactly.
There's a lot of situations in my life where if I would have saw the price up front, I would have never got on.
Yep.
Honestly, that's a big boy too. Sometimes it's nice to be ignorant to jump because if you would have known the cost, you wouldn't have jumped.
Yeah, absolutely. But continue, Benji.
No, absolutely no, and that's the most important part. Is like, some of us aren't willing to pay the first time, and if we do pay the first time, we're not willing to pay the maintenance. It's like the guy who buys the Ferrari sends like $250,000 down the road, and it's all like, okay, great, and then he gets the letter from his dealer and says, okay, your 1 month inspection's coming up. We need $3,000. It's all like, your oil change is coming up. We need another $1,000. Yeah, it's all like, you gotta replace the clutch, $12,000. It's like, what? It's like, I can't afford any of that. And it's like, yeah, then you shouldn't have bought a Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't buy a Ferrari and then quit your job. That's not how this works.
Absolutely. And yeah, this is a lot of good stuff. And I guess to bring it back to the original topic is, even though we all do make mistakes, we do all the time, and failure is a part of this. And not being afraid of the failure is key to this. Your biggest failure shouldn't be failing. I mean, your biggest fear shouldn't be failing. It should be you never trying, and that's the biggest. That should be your biggest fear, because if you don't try, that's your biggest failure. That will become your biggest failure. And I wouldn't want to lay at the end of my life and to look back and be like, I never tried I never did what I was supposed to do. because I was afraid that I wasn't going to work. But look at me now. I compromised.
Well, that's the number one thing. It's only you. I mean, we rolled this quote in very early on in the first season of the show. It's like, you are what you are in the dark. The rest is just reputation. When it's you and God at the end of the day, not what the peanut gallery says or what so and so did or the regrets that you had. It's like, did you do the best with whatever you had at the end of the day? It's like, you can't hold back. You can't, because I mean, don't let the peanut gallery stop you. That's really the point of what
Absolutely.
I'm getting at.
And that's actually perfect. Because at the end of the day, you have to think about who's actually going to be there at the very end. You know what I mean? And so they're not going to be there. They're not going to have any opinions on any decision that you ever made.
Right.
But you judge all your opinions today based off of what they think.
When you're alone in the dark, what makes the most sense?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that a lot of people forget when they see other people succeeding. And it's like we take an observation. It's like, why do people get so mad when other people succeed? And it's because if I'm 45 and I see somebody who's 20 who achieved the thing that I wanted to achieve, I subconsciously think, well, maybe if I had gone for that dream, I could have had it too. And now I'm in a place that I don't want to be, but I could have been in the place where I do want to be. And that's why the plan B gets me so like aggravated at that concept, where it's like, why do you have a plan B? It's like, if you can't have the thing that you want, then why are you going to settle for the second best thing?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, unless you, there's a place where you could be too far gone. Where say like, okay, you had a dream when you were 20, and now one morning you wake up, you're 45. And
that's a lot of mornings.
but it's true. Or I have friends that are already in their 20s, and they look at somebody like me or something else. It's like, oh, I'm already too far away. Like, I've already built a life in such the wrong way that I can't
possibly turn around. Yeah,
I can't achieve where you're at, because you're already you're far off that way. But I can take plan B and course correct and make plan B plan A, because I can't achieve this because of my equipment or my life or whatever that is.
I think that's the biggest mind shift that people need to get into, and it's not really the plan A, plan B, plan C all the way down to Z, and then you plan double A.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. It needs to be plan A, plan only. Your plan B is that when plan A isn't going exactly right, how do you get around it so you can keep going towards plan A? You know what I mean? It's not, oh, I'm going to go get a job now and work for the rest of my life. It's like, oh, no, I need to make $5,000. I need to go get this job for now, work it for the next 3-4 months, make the $5,000, and then get back to plan A. Like, plan A needs to be always the goal, because at the end of the day, that's going to forever haunt your mind. I don't want to say haunt, but it's going to be on your mind forever. You know, there was moments in my life where I stepped away from plan A and I said, I'm going plan B and I'm going plan C and everything's going to be just fine. And at the end of the day, you know what ended up happening? I came back to plan A right where I left it. You know, and if I would have just been more aware at the time, I would have saved myself so much time.
Yeah. And it's important. This is a funny little example. This is this is what I thought of. It's like, when Eric and we set out to New York, we're gonna drive out of my driveway and we're gonna head down the road. And if one of the lanes is blocked, then what is happening?
No, this is a spider. Go
okay.
I was like, I thought you were pointing at my coffee. I'm like, my coffee.
Sorry, I just wanted you to
Eric sees a spider.
No,
so
I didn't see it. I saw coffee, boys.
Sorry.
Nonetheless,
I didn't kill it.
So we're driving out. We got the GPS on. The GPS is going to tell us where we're going to New York. We take a turn, and then the road is closed. We're not now going to go to L.A. because one road was closed.
Yeah.
And that's what people do. It's like they see a blocked road, and they're like, can't go to New York anymore. Let's go to L.A. And it's like,
we got to turn around.
Dude, like, there's one road that was closed, and there might be hundreds of roads that are closed, but you got to keep going into the destination that you wanted to achieve. You don't change your destination just because there was a blocked road.
We talked about that early in season 1. We talked about it. It's like the roadblock. Well, what do you do at roadblock? That was plan A. You're going down whatever, 95.
Yeah.
And then 95's closed. It's like, oh, well, then I have to turn around and go back. It's like, no, that was just one little obstacle.
Yeah.
That was still plan A until plan A ended.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get off on the detour and follow it.
A lot of people just get like really mad, and they just yell at the obstacle course. Like it's like you can hear them, so they just scream at it, and then what they end up doing is just turning around and going home.
Yeah. Or like, oh no, I gotta go to LA now.
Yeah.
or even stranger, it could take a completely left turn and take a much longer route, because now you're gonna go all the way to to
Yeah.
LA.
Go to
but you're
LA
gonna-
to
And
get
that's
to
not
New
where
York.
you wanted to go.
It's not where you wanted to go, but so you're
Exactly.
gonna go there. There's nothing there for you, so you're gonna come all the way back to New York from a different angle and hit another obstacle course along
Or
the
you
way.
just stay in LA and you don't do anything with your life because you're like, and then the whole time you're in
and that's when
LA,
you fall off the horse.
That's it.
yeah, and that's where you fall off the horse and you get to LA and you're like, I've always wanted to go to New York, and it's like, it was easier for you to go to New York than it was for you to go to LA. You just made all the wrong decisions, and it's like,
But it
LA,
wasn't easy.
LA,
Well,
LA
they have
might
a lot
be
of homeless
somebody,
camps in LA.
Yeah.
I mean, you can live there.
Fair enough.
LA might be somebody's destination, but it doesn't have to be yours. But if it is your destination, get there. And that's it. And it's like, if my destination is New York and LA is Tyler's destination, Tyler shouldn't go to New York because he's not going to be happy. And then for the rest of his life, when he's in New York, he's going to think, I should have gone to LA.
This is great. This was an awesome episode.
All right, well, we'll catch you on the next one. All right, I guess I don't need this thing. Thanks for listening to the Life Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, rate, all that good stuff. Come follow us on Patreon. We'd really appreciate the support. You know the coffee over here. Don't pay for itself. And there's the ducks.